All right, aim 11.1, what led to exploration by Europeans? And we just went over some responses to the do now question, so here we go. All right, I'll give you a second. All right, so while you finish, so this piggybacks off of some of the same circumstances that existed during the Renaissance. We said the Renaissance was made possible by this boost in trade between East and West, Europe and Asia. And that boost in trade is what facilitates the Renaissance, right? Well, the wrinkle here is that halfway through the 1400s, the Ottoman Turks, which is a group that's part of the Islamic Empire, they take over this section of Europe here that used to be the Byzantine Empire, and they basically disconnect Europe from Asia. So the traditional trade routes that connected Europe and Asia, that connection has been severed by the Ottoman Turks, and the Europeans are going to have to find a new way to facilitate trade with Asia that they've become so dependent on. And that's a big reason what's going on here. One could argue that, if we stop right here and take an analytical look at this, this fact, one could argue that if the Ottoman Turks never conquer the Byzantine Empire, then exploration and the discovery of the New World and things like that might not be something that happens when it does, right? So it's just an interesting way to kind of think about this. So it's worth noting. So with overland trade becoming difficult, we need to find a new connection point between Europe and Asia, and that's going to be, via the sea. All right, I'll give you a second. So when we talk about motives and reasons for exploration, it's really about what's called the 3 Gs. And that's the term that we use, the 3 Gs. The 3 Gs are God, glory, and gold. We went over in the Renaissance unit about how the Protestant Reformation led to a new religion. So now that there's Catholic and Protestant religions, and they're both, different branches of Christianity, but they are going to compete with each other. So especially for Catholics, this idea of converting the natives of places that they discover, quote unquote, can strengthen their base. They can add more followers to their religion, and they can kind of take the advantage from the Protestants. So converting natives to Christianity, and specifically Catholicism, is going to be a big motivator. Glory, this is kind of the beginning of the idea of nationalist kind of glory, where, certain countries will kind of want to increase their prestige in the standing of other countries by claiming these far off lands and doing all kinds of conquering and things like that. So that's a factor here also. That's the glory. And then the gold is all the economic benefits. When we say gold, we don't necessarily mean they're going to these places to find gold. Gold is kind of a metaphor for economic gain. So the economic gain that can be garnered from exploration and discovery, quote unquote, are numerous. Cash crops and raw materials can be taken from these lands and used for the economic benefit of the European countries that are, quote unquote, discovering them, right? This is the beginning of the cash crop kind of global economy, where especially Central and South America, and parts of North America also, in the South, they will be used for cash crops. Europeans will be using this land specifically to produce crops in huge numbers that can fuel entire economies. So in in North America, you saw things like tobacco and cotton. Tobacco is grown along the East Coast, especially in the Carolinas, and then cotton all along the South. And those crops are, fueling entire economies. And then once you get into Central and South America, those crops change. You get more, some cotton, but also the big one is sugar. Sugar as a cash crop is going to be a big deal. So these are the 3 Gs: God, glory, and gold. And when we say, why did Europeans start exploring at all? It's the 3 Gs. So that's what we need to know. All right, so that's it for the notes.